cool. I still know things. I watch Harmony Nice. How do you do, fellow kids? Today we're going to be playing with FRECK Beauty. This is a brand that's been haunting my feeds for a long time, and I have always resisted it because I already have pigmentation on my face, and I was like, I think that I am exempt from the fake freckles trend because I already have freckles, and then I realized like it's more than that. I spend a lot of time trying to cover up my pigmentation, and then I actually kind of end up wanting to bring them back, and I've used various products for that. I've used my Thrive Khaki lip liner to do it before. I've used the Glossier Brow Flick in like blonde to do it before, but figured I'd go with the OG, as they call it, the original fake freckle beauty product, and I decided to try a few more of their products, or a couple more of their products, just to the makeup. I will say I'm halfway joking on the whole ageism thing. I definitely feel like as a 33-year-old, I'm not the primary audience for this, but in the same breath, I want to say that there is no age for makeup, period. I just feel like maybe their advertising isn't necessarily like keeping me in mind as much, besides the actual like FRECK product, which is very easy to lose track of. It looks like a sample and it's $22, like quoi? But we also have the UFOMG palette here. I just kind of wanted to get a feel for it and have something fun to play with and show you guys. And then we have Cheek Slime, which is just a name that I think was designed to make me uncomfortable. It's kind of like how past a certain age you can't hear certain high pitches. I feel like Cheek Slime was meant to alienate me for some reason. But today's just gonna be a fun, chill, hanging out kind of video, putting some makeup on my face. I hope you guys just feel like hanging out. So let's go ahead and jump in. So the only makeup product that I did not go for in their line was the Lid Lick. The names! But it sold out, and so that's why I didn't do that. So anyway, I got the Cheek Slime in Cuffed. Again, just a name that I feel like is designed to make me slightly uncomfortable. And oh, this is scandalous, because that, my friends, that feels like cloud paint. Uh-oh. Well, as it turns out, Beam, even though it's one of my favorite colors of the cloud paint, has disappeared into, you know, whatever pile of nonsense that I have neglected to organize lately. And we just have this on its own. I will compare this to Haze. Haze is, okay, so less opaque. This is the Glossier Haze, just for formula's comparison's sake here. And this is the Cheek Slime. The Cheek Slime dries down matte, and this will dry down, but I still think it can kind of remain movable infinitely, and you do end up kind of having to layer it because it's a little bit emollient, and so your skin will kind of absorb it, and then you have to put on another coat. The Cheek Slime, she seems, oh, okay. I can still move it. You know, I can still do one of those. So we're not getting like a full matte dry down. It feels like a liquid lipstick though. It's a little crazy. I feel pretty good about being able to make that work. But I will say, you know, I'm always here for a new formula. Someone just trying something new. I'm gonna put the Cheek Slime on something. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on like the packaging. When it dries down, it dries down. I have a palette. I don't know what happened to it. Story of my life. Very pretty color, very, very pretty color. And, you know, I could very easily go e-girl on this and just blush the daylights out of my nose. But I will resist. I kind of want to try and apply this the way that I would still prefer to wear makeup, not try and play into their aesthetic just because, you know, it's the company I bought it from. It's very pretty though. It does kind of smooth out and stay a little bit translucent, or it's pushing my product out of the way. But I will say it's a little more difficult to work with than cloud paint just because it starts to dry down. It gets stiff kind of quickly. I'm not saying that's a deal breaker at all. It just, you know, it's your preference, I guess. I just wasn't really ready for that. Now it's like I kind of have to go back in with more. Yeah. And you just gotta be careful. I have too much on and I don't know what to do with it. Okay. If you're new to my channel, blush is my thing. I do really like blush. And while I appreciate that kind of coral color objectively, it's making my lips and their natural color look very mauve and like cool toned. It's just a little bit on the orange side for my skin. I do really like the color on its own. Sorry, I'm watching myself in my viewfinder, but I do feel like, you know, if I were to put more blush on, which I probably will, I would kind of try and balance it out with something a little bit cooler, a little bit more berry toned, that would bring my natural coloring back into focus here. Okay, so that's cheek slime. Not bad. I just think that the formula could be a little easier to work with. It could be a little thinner. It could have a little bit more time before it dries down. And I think that if you were applying it on top of something that was even in the slightest bit powdered, you would really disturb it. I don't have any powder on my face, so. It does kind of dry down on its own though, which is nice. You know, you don't end up with like feeling like it's just gonna kind of slide around on you or make you look greasy. So it is a very interesting and I feel like well thought out formula. It's just unexpected. I also don't mind the delivery system. I like this little tiny, it looks like one of those things where you like put the flavoring in your water, but it's like this soft touch rubber kind of, and then this has just a teeny tiny spout on it so that you can really dispense as little as you need. Okay, we're gonna save the little freckle maker for last. I'm gonna go next with the UFOMG. Oh my God, that shadow just freaking fell out. God, oh, that's so lame. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Now that's everywhere. God, that's so annoying. Some beauty YouTubers will be like, oh, you know, it happens. It just never freaking happens to me. I'm gonna be a brat about this. I think that that was an annoying thing that just happened. So, to be fair, I guess, these are pressed pigments, which I might be just kind of unfamiliar with the concept. But yeah, the idea of a pressed pigment versus an eyeshadow, I'm not sure that I have the experience or authority to explain the difference to you, but I've used this already and they're hard to work with. They're a little hard to work with. So we have this sort of pleasant colorway here. We have, you know, the pink and the coral that is right within my comfort zone, and then this nice one called Cosmic Dust, which is very pretty gold that shifts kind of yellowy green. And then there's sort of the jaundicey yellow colors that, you know, can sometimes work amazingly well on my skin and sometimes look terrible. And then we have the blues, which, as much as I always want to kind of like never back down from a challenge, every time I use blue on camera, my eyes look demon red because they're brown, and so it basically cancels out any of the cool tones in my eyes and just makes them glow demon red. And that's just not my vibe. So I'm actually going to do this without explaining as I go, just because I feel like this is it's an eyeshadow palette. It's pretty familiar territory. Oh, and then this is Spacebar. This is the primer. I don't like it at all. This is a primer that just never dries down, plus it's in a metal pan that when I rub my finger against the sharp end of that metal pan, it makes me want to leave my body. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into trying to do kind of a corally eye look that goes with this cheek and see if we can bring it together. If we can bring it together, we'll just go with a coral lip and, you know, call it a day. What I said about them not blending that well. They actually are a little bit easier to work with than I thought. It was because I tried them the first time with that primer, which I am just not a fan of, that little space bar. It made everything grab weird and go really inconsistent on my face, and I just didn't like it. So a few things to point out here. Objectively, there are no really pale tones in here. I have no way of working my way out of my situation. This feels very like browsing the Dolls Kill website where I'm just like, oh, there's just no relief. Okay. It's all like this. I don't know. It's definitely for some people. I think that this is really brilliant. I think it's very different and different for a reason. That said, glad I tried it. Not necessarily for me. So I'm actually going to take a little bit, because I have it sitting in front of me, of the Ilia Decades highlighter, and I'm going to use that to highlight my brow bone, because I couldn't find anything that really could highlight my brow bone in there. The lightest one is kind of that gold that I was using, and it shifts like majorly yellow gold. And I don't want to crap all over this, because obviously it's just not necessarily my aesthetic. And that is not to say that it's not a product that needs to exist. You know, I think that it is worth trying and a lot of fun. And, you know, these shades right here are really, really pretty. Actually, all four of these are, but like you see how even though Skinful, the palest kind of neutral shade in here, looks like it's going to go on almost like a, you know, a transition color or something. It's very, very pigmented. They're all very pigmented. So it goes on the skin like kind of really saturated peach, and this goes on like neon, you know? And then these two are really, really pretty, but if I wanted those shades, I could easily get them in a $24/$32, whichever one, you know, wherever you buy it from, palette from PYT. That's one of my favorite palettes for those really beautiful burgundies and that gorgeous like foiled glitter kind of thing. I did wear this all day yesterday with the primer, and something that I did find was just that like the glittery, shimmery pigmentation does not really last very well on these, and that could be user error. It was just what I found. And now, before we do any of like the eyeliner and mascara and I squish back and stuff like that, let's go in with the original Freck here. So this stuff's pretty cool. I feel like, you know, if they were gonna go and do the darn thing, they kind of went and did the darn thing, because this stuff is like waterproof. It's really interesting. The only big complaint that I hear about this is just that it's very, very warm. It's like almost red. And I feel like all of their stuff kind of leans a little bit warm. It's just kind of a bright sunshiny line as far as I'm concerned. And that's totally fine. By the way, I'm gonna wipe this off my hand, because if I don't, it's going to be there all day. Literally, it's already staining. It's super waterproof. That's the whole point. And so basically what you're supposed to do is dab, 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 and then you take your finger and kind of stamp it. And when you do that, it lightens up the ones you put down, and then it kind of stamps that same sort of irregular pattern on your face. But one thing that I found, unless you want to get like that e-girl, just kind of like smoky rosy nose, which is not what I'm going for, you kind of have to let it sit for a second to dry down like a tad before you start kind of stamping it. Otherwise you just end up just with this like blurred, you know, Igari, is that what it's called? Igari makeup situation. So I'm gonna be pretty aggressive here. We're gonna draw some, serious dots, you know, maybe for better or for worse. And like I said, I do have freckles already, and so I feel like pretty easy to disguise these guys. And, you know, I used to do kind of a little bit more avant-garde looks on my channel with this kind of product. Not necessarily a freckle product, but with like liquid eyeliners and stuff. I always liked to do fake freckles. I feel like it adds something kind of interesting and ethereal. And you can see, even though I did let it dry down for a minute, you end up with pretty believable little freckles. And even though it is warm, I don't know, I feel like they're believable on my skin, and there's only one shade in this, so I assume that they were kind of trying to cater to everybody. Let that chill for a second. And once you kind of get the hang of it, you can get pretty bold, you know? Like, I'm gonna put them on the tip of my nose, you know? And I think that this product works flawlessly, honestly. I mean, it's overpriced for sure. There's a big one of it that you can do for $32. I think that's a better value, but this one is $22. Now, I mean, I wasn't expecting like a bucket of it, but like I said, like I could really easily lose track of this. It's smaller than a 3-tube of eyelash glue that comes with eyelashes, you know? Like, I have to kind of keep things in perspective. I'm just Stampity stampin'. Every time that you put your finger back on one that was the original one, it lightens it up a little bit. You really have a lot of control. So, let me zoom. Wow! So you can tell. You can tell that, you know, there are fake ones and there are real ones. My fake ones are covered by makeup and the real ones are a little bit more bold, and you saw where I put them. It is something that I would absolutely feel confident wearing during the day as a normal person, you know? I don't think that it's avant-garde. I don't think that it's noticeable enough that someone's going to clock it as fake freckles. I think that they really nailed it, and if you have been looking for like a freckle aesthetic, you know, it doesn't really have much of a learning curve at all. Oh my God, there's Beam staring right at me. How does this happen? Okay, Beam is definitely lighter, but we're finally going to compare them. They are kind of similar. Yeah, okay, so here's the cheek slime right here in Cuffed, and then this is Glossier Cloud Paint in Beam, which was literally sitting right here in front of me the entire time. I have no idea, like, what is wrong with me. But anyway, yeah, Puff is the kind of paler, more opaque pink in Glossier Cloud Paint, and I think that this is somewhere right in the middle. It's a little bit more neutral and less orange, actually, than the Beam shade. I am going to put eyeliner and mascara on and probably try and manipulate some kind of lip that brings this together, and I will be right back with you. Okay, so here is my final look. What I did was my typical. I finished it off with the Thrive Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. Right before that, I just used a little bit of the Thrive eyeshadow right here on a little liner brush that I have. Here it is. And I literally just like wet the brush, dip it in there. And I kind of went a little overboard on my liner. I fell into the e-girl trap, okay? It happened. These products lend themselves really well to it. And I just ended up going with my regular lip liner, my khaki lip liner. And then instead of clear gloss, I went with the Glossier Red to just kind of warm it up a little bit. Found that to work pretty well. Went in with my Glossier Boy Brow. I was already wearing a little bit of the Patrick Ta. Just wanted a little bit more pigmentation. And I think that we accomplished what Freck is going for here, you know? And so let's go ahead and talk about the brand itself. I've got my iPad here. That's what I'm gonna use. I think I already have it pulled up. So the prices on these, the FRECK OG, I'm telling you guys, the Micro Freck is $22. The Cheek Slime is $18, which is the same price as the Glossier Cloud Paint. For the Cloud Paint, you get 0.33 fluid ounces, and for the Cheek Slime, you get 0.845 fluid ounces. So you do get more of the cheek slime. It's just a matter of like what your formula preference is, because this is going to be a little thinner and easier to work with, gives you more time, whereas this is just more pigmented. I feel like if you're going for that e-girl cheek, like this is the icon product. The cheek slime comes in 5 shades, the Freck just comes in 1, and then the UFOMG palette is $28, which I don't think is a terrible deal for this. You know, I think that that's a very kind of youth-friendly, you know, exciting purchase, something you might save up for kind of price. It's not as cheap as like ColourPop, nothing is, but it's not as expensive as, you know, some of the stuff that you would find at Sephora. I can feel the other shadow rattling around in here. They also have, like I said, the Lid Lick, which is $16. It's sold out. It comes in 4 shades. And then they have a lot of skincare. So they have Cactus Water, which is a cleansing lactic acid toner, Lil Prick, Cactus Seed Dry Serum. I really feel like they're just trying to be so edgy with all the names of everything. I think that that's what kind of deterred me for so long. They have one called Rich Bee, Cactus and Vitamin C Moisturizer, So Jelly, Cactus Eye Jelly with Plant Collagen, and For Clay, Cactus Clay Mask. That one's a reach. But yeah, you can tell they're into cactus, and it's just, it's a whole aesthetic. They have a Quarantine Essentials skincare edit for $99. They also have, yeah, the new Mugshot, and Mugshot I think is a cleanser. So, as far as Freck is concerned, the world's first freckle cosmetic that took the internet by storm. Am I in focus? Freck OG boasts the most natural, long-lasting faux freckles on the market, quick, realistic, buildable, and your new BFF. How to apply? I mean, I explained it to you guys. You know, lightly apply Freck OG as a cluster of dots, dipping your brush often, allow formula to sit and develop naturally on your skin. Here's where the magic happens. Copy paste your Frecks by tapping them across your skin. It's compatible with all skin tones and looks best on darker skin when left longer before tapping. So pretty much what I found to be true. Lots of space between each tap will create the most natural freckles with the quickest application. And some people aren't going for natural. And I've seen, you know, I watched Snitchery do her e-girl transformation, and I mean, she just blurred her whole, like, middle of her nose. I kind of want to do, like, a Snitchery face hacks video, just testing all of her face hacks, because she's just already got such a makeup-friendly face that I'm always like, would that really work on me? I don't really know, but she is a magician. So the cheek slime claims to have plant collagen in it, so it also has technically skincare benefits. Be your own boo and give yourself the best blush job. What does that mean? Never heard of a slime blush? Us either. That's why Freck is bringing the world's first again. Infused with liquid plant collagen, this buildable tint blends effortlessly into your skin for a multi-dimensional wash of color across any skin tone. Cheek slime is the perfect complement to Freck OG. They spelled compliment wrong. And the reviews do say that it's patchy if you kind of apply it in the wrong way. So if you try and put it on with your fingers, it's gonna dry a little too quickly, is what a lot of the reviews say. So I feel like that was kind of my experience too. Just make sure that you're just doing a little bit at a time, probably not put it on top of a powder. I don't know, I anticipated the comments being like, it works fine for me, but for me, I probably wouldn't, just because I don't like to disturb it. And then make sure that you're, you know, using like a brush or a sponge or something like that and putting it where you want it. I feel like the cloud paint's kind of the same way. The cloud paint's a little bit more workable after you put it on the skin, but like you can go overboard too quickly. Okay, and I want to know what kind of the whole mental concept was behind the UFOMG palette. So pressed pigment palette. Glitch the matrix with UFOMG, 11 shades that blend seamlessly for vibrant, ultra pigmented, and long-lasting looks. Achieve every possible eye look with 4 ready-to-layer textures, including 6 buttery mattes, 2 duochrome metallics, 1 reflective hologram, and 1 priming base. UFOMG holds tightly to pigment and stays put. FRECK Beauty designed this palette to be universally flattering for any skin tone and lifestyle, no matter your look. So before we jump into final thoughts, I just kind of want to know what they're about. Welcome to the Freck fam. We've been waiting for you. Here you'll find innovative skincare and cosmetics with top quality ingredients and packing that makes you feel seen and sexy. Freck is founded by women and made for everyone, especially you. We seek to empower and promote the creatives, beauty gurus, and entrepreneurs that surround us. We are a magazine, a blog, a podcast, a radio station, a travel authority. We are long form and short form by way of .movie, .mp3, and .jpeg. We think you'll like it here. So from a branding standpoint, it feels like they are trying to capture the imagination of like free thinking people and make imaginative makeup that's creative and allows you to be creative. And I do feel like they are, you know, trying to cater to that slightly more millennial, if not, you know, Gen Z audience of people who are more ingredient conscious, do have a little bit more money to spend, but they're willing to spend it on like a hero product. And it's people who have, and that's what they're trying to get, obviously, is like this super brand loyalty, like an aesthetic that someone feels like Freck is always going to put out a product that I'm going to love, and so whenever they put out a new product, I'm gonna buy it kind of thing. That is ultimate brand loyalty in the age that we're in right now, is just kind of making things collector's items, and I feel like that's what the brand is going for. I like what they're doing. Let's go ahead and talk final thoughts. We only have 3 products here, and I have a lot of thoughts on them. So as far as the cheek slime is concerned, yes, user friendliness has a little bit of a learning curve, like the reviews say. Like I said, you know, this is not necessarily a put it on with your fingers product unless you are very good at it. If you're good at it, then you're good at it. But as far as getting something to really diffuse and not be really concentrated in one spot, the dry down's just kind of quick. And so you have to be a little bit careful. But other than that, putting it on with the right tool, a sponge or a brush, and getting the right opacity, beautiful color, beautiful formula, great price for the amount of product that you're getting. I think that this is actually a really, really beautiful product. And it does give me, I feel like, the aesthetic that you would see on like TikTok or any of kind of the, you know, those really aesthetic beauty tutorials that they don't even voice over. It's just music and they're just like, oh, look at me, I'm just this sunshiny Tumblr girl. Maybe Tumblr girl is an outdated thing to say, but it definitely gives me those vibes with very minimal effort. I feel like this is essential to the aesthetic. As far as the eyeshadow palette, you guys kind of watch me change my mind in real time. If these colors excite you, I would say that the pigments are pretty good. I don't think that they're difficult to work with like I did when I first tried them. I would just say if you find the spacebar to be frustrating, just skip it. It's really not that necessary. But as far as their claim on this stuff lasting all day, There are definitely ones that last longer, and I think that they probably have, like, you know, Tatis have Teflon in them, things like that, that are gonna make them last longer and be a little bit more wha-pow on the eyes. But I think that for the price, things like that, you know, they do a pretty good job. I still think that you can get more color payoff and more like sheen and more foil and more lasting power from like a ColourPop shadow for, you know, less money. So this just doesn't excite me as much, and I don't feel like for being pressed pigments they're giving me some kind of really over-the-top experience that I feel like is worth recommending. But the colors are cool, and I don't think that the formula is necessarily a deal breaker if this is like a palette of shades that really, really sings to your soul. If that's the case, then like absolutely, you know, I'm not here to stop you. And finally, our little Frecky do. Guys, I love this. Like, I love this. I think it's for everyone. I know that this is an appallingly small amount of product for $22. And I know I've just seen some reviews here and there. I don't like to watch a lot of reviews before I review a certain product just because I feel like I won't be able to help but let it influence my opinion. But I know that there are other products like this. This one happens to be the original that they claim, but there are ones that, you know, are obviously knockoffs. This is not patented to my knowledge. And so there are probably, you guys have probably tried some, if this is an aesthetic that you have been trying to achieve, that is a lot, you know, maybe more cost effective. But if this is the one that you're looking for and you're just like, hey, I don't mind spending $22, but does it work? It's absolutely beautiful. I think that it's really, really awesome. It makes me feel cute as heck. Heckin' cute, okay? And even without the eye look and the everything, I feel like blush in this would make me feel real heckin' cute, and it's super easy to work with. I think that it's really awesome. Really, really awesome. Like, will use again. Don't feel like anyone would necessarily clock me. I'm real glad that I bought this. All right, like the cheek slime I'll definitely use again. The eyeshadow palette is kind of I'll see if somebody in my life wants it. But like this lends itself very much to my everyday vibe of really wanting to look like I'm not wearing very much makeup. So it's like I go nuts with the blush and sometimes achieve a little too much opacity, and I can go back in and fill my freckles back in with a really, really believable looking product. I really can't say enough. Like it's really, really awesome. So those are my thoughts on the Freck offering. Let me know if you've tried any of the other freckle products on the market. I've seen ones that you spray on your face. I have seen Jenna Marbles try 15 different ways to skin a cat, you know, like doing henna and stuff like that. Lots of people have tried to achieve fake freckles either in the short term or the long term kind of thing. And like I said, I already have them, but I still feel like this is a really fun product to enhance them and kind of control that little bit of cottagecore, the cottagecore vibe. I'm still cool. I still know things. I watch Harmony Nice. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up if you don't think there's an age to makeup. I don't think there's an age to makeup, but there is an age to marketing, okay? They definitely had someone in mind. I'm just gonna say it. So anyway, guys, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If it's my first video that you're watching, or for whatever reason you are not subscribed yet, subscribe. Then you'll know when I upload. Ring the little notification bell and you'll know exactly when I upload, because we have so much fun here. Thank you guys so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you so much. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.